Let's go, SDS. I appreciate your patience as we get things started and ready to go. But we got playoffs to talk about. The San Francisco 49ers take care of business. Oh, baby. And we got our opponent squared up and squared away. So we're going to get into it and talk about it right now. Let's go. You already know the vibes. Playoff magic is upon us. Smash that like button. Drop an SDS in the chat. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it. Facebook and YouTube right now. Let's go. All right. It's time. The second season begins now. The San Francisco 49ers make it through the year. They are NFC West championships, finished the 2022 season 13-4 off a 10-game win streak. But it's not over. The San Francisco 49ers are just getting started. And if you were watching tonight's matchup on Sunday Night Football, you already know what it is. The playoffs are set. There's no more questions. Who's it going to be? Oh, we know who it's going to be. It's going to be the Seahawks for the third time this season. Oh, man, this rivalry just got kicked up a notch. All right, we get it. The 49ers swept the Seattle Seahawks this year. Honestly, wasn't too difficult. The 49ers took care of business against the Seattle Seahawks with three quarterbacks. Week 2, the San Francisco 49ers started the game with Trey Lance. They ended the game with Jimmy Garoppolo, and it was a convincing win. Okay, well, they faced the Seattle Seahawks yet again, week 15 at Seattle on a short week. And not only was it a short week, but Brock Purdy was dealing with an oblique injury. And it was his first road game, first road start of his young career. 49ers took care of business. Now, Kyle Shanahan spoke about that game. Listen, that was a game they had in control from start to finish. However, it was still a one-possession game when it was all said and done. So even though the 49ers controlled that game from start to finish, the Seattle Seahawks somehow stayed in that game and they made it close. So we're never going to take an opponent for granted. And we're not going to look past the Seattle Seahawks. But the Seattle Seahawks have to travel to the 49ers. They're going to play the 49ers at home on Saturday, 1:30 Pacific Standard kickoff time. So the 49ers right now have an opportunity to get things. This is the second time in a row that the 49ers are going to play a team in division in the playoffs. Obviously, we don't want to repeat it last year. This is a new season, new year. But the Seattle Seahawks are coming to town. I'm looking forward to it. Let me know in the chat. What are you feeling? Are you confident? Are you concerned? Do you feel like you're already looking ahead to the divisional round playoff game? What are you feeling? Do you feel like the San Francisco 49ers are going to take care of business? I think they are. I see some people in the chat that are a little worried because, let's face it, if you grew up a 49er fan the past decade, the Seattle Seahawks have knocked us out of the NFC Championship game. They have had the upper leg on the San Francisco 49ers the past 10 years. But that was 10 years ago. This is a new team. There is a new quarterback. There are new weapons. I'm looking forward to this, man. Someone said we need revenge for 2013. 100% we need revenge for 2013. They were gifted the opportunity to get into the playoffs because the Detroit Lions, and shout out to Detroit Lions, man. I'll be honest. I really don't want to play the Packers. I'm glad the Packers didn't get that opportunity. And I'm actually looking forward to the Seattle Seahawks and this third matchup and it occurring again because it's the Seattle Seahawks. What better way to advance through on this storybook type of season than beating the Seattle Seahawks 3 times in 1 year and officially ending their season. Now, we're not going to get too cocky. We're not going to get too ahead of ourselves, but we are confident. I think that's fair to say that going into this game, the confidence is high. We are looking forward to this Saturday. We got playoff football. I can't believe it. Saturday, it's going down. Karma saying opening -10 favorites and rain until 7 p.m. at Levi's. Listen, I'm not going to even talk about the weather because if you live in the Bay Area, we were supposed to have a hurricane hit us. I must have missed it. I don't know. I didn't see it. It was a little windy. There was a little bit of rain. But I'm not going to talk about the weather just yet. Because as we've seen, it did not rain today. The weather was fantastic at Levi's Stadium. And even if it does rain, this team has started their season in the rain. They've played multiple games in the rain. The first game against Seattle started out in the rain. They practiced in the rain just last week. I think we're going to be all right. So I'm not going to worry about the weather until kickoff. That's when I'll worry about the weather. Someone said an injury report. I believe really the only person to get injured out of this game was Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles, which I don't know the extent of that particular injury, but I think the 49ers were able to get out of this game relatively healthy. So that is another great sign for the San Francisco 49ers heading into this week. Someone asked me if I'm going to be going next Saturday. Yep, I will be going. I will be at Levi's Stadium. How could I not go to this match? This will be the third matchup that I've been to just against Seattle. I was there week 2. I was in Seattle for week 15. I got to be there for the wild card round. So yes, I will be at Levi's Stadium. And you already know the vibes. I'm looking forward to it. Already got the plans kind of set up. So it's going to be a great matchup. The 49ers, man, they have an opportunity in front of them. I think when we're watching the 49ers win, and even against the Cardinals, right? Even against the Cardinals, I don't think they're playing their best brand of football yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, the 49ers are coming out here. They're putting 30-plus points on all these opponents. And I think we could all still say they could probably play a little bit better. And that type of scenario for the San Francisco 49ers as they're heading into the playoffs, I think is a recipe for something good to occur. Because let's face it, 10-game win streak. What are we talking about? Typically, we're talking about like 10 games. Like when you look at the Eagles win streak, and when the Eagles were cooking, they were cooking. Like they were just all cylinders, they were running through teams. Now, the 49ers are running through teams, but there's still a little adversity that pops up. There's still a little like, oh, we can clean that up. We can fix this. We got to get better over here. We got to improve this. We got to block this better. We got to keep our eyes on. You know what I'm saying? So I think the positive to take away from this is that this team can still improve. This team can still get better and still round into gear, like round into shape at the right time. So I think when we're talking about the San Francisco 49ers and this run, yes, we wanted the 1 seed. We wanted the bye, but screw it. We don't need the bye. Bye would have been nice. Bye would have been chill. Can't lose when you have a bye. But the 49ers get an opponent that they are very familiar with. They got plenty of tape on. They got plenty of experience with. And if the 49ers play their game against the Seattle Seahawks, and again, execute, do what they need to do, stay disciplined. Again, fundamental football with this team is winning football. If the 49ers just do what they're supposed to do, they will be unstoppable. That has been the rallying cry, I believe, with this team. Again, you guys, whether you watch me on YouTube or whatever, I've been saying it till I'm blue in the face and for a really, really long time. If this team plays their brand of football, they are unbeatable. The only team that can beat the San Francisco 49ers are the San Francisco 49ers themselves. And that is a beautiful, beautiful place to be in. So, again, to be in this stage right now, I'm not going to lie. Week 2 against the Seahawks, when Trey Lance went down, I was scared a little bit. I was like, what the hell are we going to do? Yeah, we had Jimmy Garoppolo. I just didn't necessarily know how it was going to like fit together. And then Jimmy Garoppolo comes out, plays lights out. He's playing some of the best football of his career. And we're starting to get re-energized. We're starting to get re-engaged. We had the little downturn against the Falcons, against the Chiefs, but then we got back on track against the Rams, against the Chargers. And then when we hit against the Cardinals and we destroyed the Cardinals in Mexico City, that felt like a nice shift in momentum to where like we were starting to prove to ourselves that we are for real. And since then, since that Chiefs game, the 49ers haven't lost. So I'm really excited about where the 49ers are at this point. I think the Seattle Seahawks should be terrified. Now, they're playing on house money, right? They got a little bit of that house money thing going on. Like, whereas, the 49ers, they've earned everything that they've gotten. And not to say that Seattle hasn't, but they needed the Packers to lose to be able to get in. So they got a little bit of that house mojo flowing. So they're a team that everyone counted out, including Niner fans. All of us 49er fans, when we saw the Seattle Seahawks, we said they're going to be the worst team in the division. Not even a question. They trade away Russell Wilson. They have all these rookies coming in. We're like, the Seattle Seahawks are going to be the worst team probably in the NFL. Geno Smith we're like, Geno. Oh, that's probably going to work out really well. Well, shout out to them. They played this whole season is house money. So we got a little bit of that. Like, we can't forget. They got a little bit of that, no expectation. Anything that they do is just congratulations, Seahawks. We expected nothing of you. So good for you, Seahawks. So we got a little bit of that going. But so did the 49ers. 49ers are on their third string rookie quarterback. So it's gonna be a matchup. I'm definitely looking forward to it. On Sewell on YouTube dropped a super chat, said, how important is Greenlaw in this playoff run? Greenlaw has been imperative this season for the 49ers defense. I mean, he's been the leading tackler in probably half the games that the San Francisco 49ers have played this year. But, look at Azeez. Azeez Al-Shaair steps up big time, gets the start next to Fred Warner. He leads the team in tackles today. So, again, it just goes back to the 49ers have the best linebacking core in the NFL. How important is Dre Greenlaw? He's very important. And, you go back to that Week 15 game against Seattle, Dre Greenlaw was a menace. He was all over the field. He was, I believe, the leading tackler in that game in Week 15. So the 49ers will likely get Dre Greenlaw back this game, which, again, is huge. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. Ryan Reed says, I have Russ PTSD. I need to see us put them away. I have Russ PTSD too. Russ still beat the San Francisco 49ers this year. We know how bad the Denver Broncos are. Russ still beat us this year. Like, I have Russ PTSD too. Trust me. I've had it since the moment he was drafted. As someone who liked Russ a hell of a lot pre-draft, when the Seattle Seahawks took him, my heart sunk into my stomach because I knew they got a good player. So I have Russ PTSD too. But Russ isn't there anymore. So we got, and let's face it, what Geno Smith is really good at, in my opinion, is working short to intermediate, hitting what's available. Russ killed us because we would take everything away and then he would escape on 3rd and 14 and either rush for a first down or throw a 45-yard touchdown. That's why we have Russ PTSD. So I can understand the PTSD that comes along with Russell Wilson, but I do think it is important to quantify that it's much different with this Seattle team. Now, we have Seattle PTSD, but there's a big difference between Russell Wilson and Geno Smith. So I hear you. I hear you. I got Russ PTSD too, but I think we got to leave that in the past. I mean, again, he still beat us this year, but he's not playing in this game. So we gotta leave some of those PTSD feelings in our rear view, at least with Russ. Like, we can still have that cringe feeling, like when we think about the Seattle Seahawks. Like, listen, the Seattle Seahawks stole our souls in the early 2010s, mid 2013, 2014. I was there. I'm with you guys. So, but this is an opportunity for, of course, the players have their own different set of circumstances and fans have their own different set of circumstances. From a fan perspective, the fan perspective is we have an opportunity to erase that PTSD. We can't change the past. The past will always what has led us to here, but we have an opportunity to make the past right. We have an opportunity to right the wrongs of the past with this game against the Seattle Seahawks. So if the San Francisco 49ers come out, get the dub against Seattle, I think it's time to leave some of that Seattle PTSD in the past and we move forward. James Bell on YouTube with the super chat. Appreciate you, my boy. He says payback and for the 2013 NFC Championship game versus the Hawks when we lost. Bowman. Yeah. I don't want to talk about the past. Let the time. Thank you, Joel. Thank you, Joel. He says the time is now. And I agree 100%. It's time to look towards the future It's time to manage and handle the business that we have in front of us. And again, us as fans, we're going to have our PTSD. We're always going to have our PTSD. But it's a new day. It's a new dawn. My boy, Big Body Cisco. Hey, shout out to Big Body Cisco, bro. My guy's out here emceeing the 49ers invasion in Las Vegas. You see you, my boy. He says, I don't trust the weather reports out here in the Bay. Thank you. Thank you. That's what I'm saying. We were supposed to get smothered by some tropical typhoon. Where did it go? It never showed up. we were told there would be deaths. We were told this would be a storm that would cause deaths. Didn't show up. Literally didn't occur. So we're not going to worry about the weather until day of. Day of, we'll check weather reports, and then we'll figure it out. Because I was told people were going to die in the Bay Area, and we got sprinkled. And I think like maybe a couple trees blew over. That's true. That's true. Tree did. And that was a terrible story. So I don't want to go too far. But yeah, man, it was crazy. But back to the conversation at hand. Shout out to Cato dropping the $10 super chat on me. Appreciate you, my boy. We're not going to worry about the weather. Is the point at hand. We're not going to worry about the weather. We're going to worry about the things that we can control, at least from a fan perspective, and what we can control. If so facto, we're 49er fans. We can control how they play. At least we like to believe we can control how they play. Jared dropped a super chat on me. Appreciate you, man. He says, this is the year that our 49ers win the Super Bowl. I see a rematch, Chiefs versus 49ers. This time the 49ers come out on top. Oh, could you imagine? Rematch. I mean, this game has a lot of, or not this game, this season has some wild storybook vibes. When you talk, like I've mentioned it before, like, you know, they made the movie about Moneyball and the way Moneyball came into fruition and all that kind of stuff. Moneyball, they didn't win the championship. Now they had a phenomenal record that was very hard to attain, but the 49ers have an opportunity to win a championship. And in this set of circumstances, with all the third string quarterback, like, that's going to be the craziest thing about it, is the fact that the 49ers are going this far right now with Brock Purdy. And listen, if we got to talk about Brock and we got to talk about his performance today, his performance this year, what is absolutely wild about Brock Purdy is I haven't seen a quarterback play this consistently, this well, this effectively, this efficiently for the San Francisco 49ers. I don't know. I can't say Alex Smith because Alex Smith was very efficient, but he didn't create. He just played within the system, and the system was vanilla, and he just operated that. Can't really compare him to Cat because Pete Cat was gonna take over the world at one point. He was playing so well, but there was still some limitations there. Brock is just, He's not the most athletically gifted. He's not going to outrun anyone. But it's the small nuances of the quarterback position. It's the small nuances of being able to manipulate coverage with his eyes, the pocket awareness, pocket mobility, the slight pocket mobility, not even like he has to run out of the pocket. It's like he makes these little shifts and these little fades within the pocket that put him in this spot to be able to, one, find the passing lane, or two, put him in position to make a throw. He just has this spatial awareness to him that, I mean, it's wild. Like, it is wild that we're watching this guy that, again, it's turned into a bit of a theatrical thing to be the last pick in the NFL because no one expects anything from the last pick in the NFL. And Brock is out here cooking. Like, Brock Purdy came in and has unlocked George Kittle. Like all those jokes that you would see on Twitter or on the media or wherever, like, oh, Jimmy and George are best friends and this, that, and the other thing. It's like, you know, George was struggling a little bit with Jimmy Garoppolo at the quarterback position because, unfortunately, and again, I don't want to go too deep down the rabbit hole on Jimmy, but Jimmy, the defenses knew Jimmy. They knew they could squat over the middle. They knew they could bring safeties down. They knew they could bracket George, and that would take away like half of the field for Jimmy, unfortunately. And then they would force Jimmy to go elsewhere. The thing with Brock is they've tried everything. They have thrown zero blitzes at him. They've thrown the house, the kitchen sink, they've thrown the bathtub. They've thrown the bars of soap. They've thrown everything at him from a pressure standpoint, and they have been extremely unsuccessful because Brock Purdy can identify the blitz pre-snap. He can process it post-snap, and then he can deliver the football with timing and accuracy under those circumstances. Whether there's a free rusher, whether he has blocking, no blocking, whether he needs to escape, whether he needs to create, he gets it done. So what are we seeing? We are seeing defenses say, hold on, wait a minute. We can't throw the kitchen sink at Purdy because he's going to burn us. So we actually got to play coverage. And then when they start playing coverage, then you see Brock Purdy start manipulating coverage with his eyes. He starts holding linebackers. He starts holding safeties. He starts going behind them. And like, this is what quarterback play has been looking like. I've said it a bunch of times. Like, I've been waiting for a San Francisco 49ers quarterback to look like this for a long time. Did I expect it to be Brock Purdy? Not in a million freaking years. And I will tell you how much I wasn't expecting this. You guys know I go to training camp. You guys know I am big into player evaluation. You know, I love it. It's just something that I love to do. I went to training camp, didn't even care to get a sense or a feel for Brock Purdy because in my head, it was Sudfeld, $2 million guaranteed contract, Trey Lance quarterback one. I was like, this kid's practice squad quarterback. Looking forward to having him on the practice squad. I did not pay attention to Brock Purdy. My mistake. Because ever since he has stepped in since the Dolphins game, like uh it's insane. It's crazy, man. Uh Someone said I look like David Bakhtiari from the Packers. Is it the man bun? With my messed up man bun? Um Someone said, "All right, I want to ask the chat this. I want to get the chat involved on this question because now we're to this point. I've been poking at this question for a couple weeks now. And so now I'm going to ask it because what we had the hypotheticals that we've talked about, they're over. They're now factual. We discussed, I think, after Brock Purdy dismantled the Tampa Bay Bucks, we said if this guy wins out and continues this level of play, is Brock Purdy the rookie of the year? Now, the questions were he's only played a handful of games, but he has not lost. He is undefeated in his 5 starts, 2 on the road. 1, he was thrown into the game in the first quarter. Won that game against a red-hot Dolphins team. Brock Purdy broke the record for touchdowns thrown by a San Francisco 49ers rookie quarterback in an entire season. Let me run that back. This man got his first legitimate. He played 1 drive against the Chiefs. We're not counting that. Since week 13, he played Dolphins, Tampa, Seattle, Washington, Raiders. I got my fingers on Cardinals. That's 6 games, right? 5 games started, 6 games played. He's broken the record for touchdowns thrown by a rookie quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers. I don't know. To me, that sounds like rookie of the year type magic. I mean, we know this is a quarterback driven league. We know the quarterbacks win the shiny awards. And considering the circumstances, 3rd string quarterback, the way he's elevated the offense. Like, again, we were, yes, you can have my autograph. You can definitely have my autograph. We were talking about Jimmy Garoppolo as before Jimmy went down against the Saints, we were starting to have the conversation about Jimmy Garoppolo being a top 10 quarterback. Like, those conversations were being had. Is Jimmy Garoppolo a top 10 quarterback? Some thought yes, right there about 10. Some thought he was clawing at the door of 10. Some thought maybe 9 or 8, around that category. Brock Purdy has stepped in as a rookie and elevated an offense when Jimmy Garoppolo is playing at a top 10 level. So how do you quantify that? How do you contextualize? Sorry, Miami. Excuse me. He went down against Miami. How do you contextualize that with Brock Purdy? So, again, I don't want to go all in on Brock. I do enjoy talking about Brock. But, yeah. Brock is him. Let's talk about some other people, though. Christian McCaffrey. Unbelievable. He has been insane. And that good point. Christian McCaffrey's been insane. Elijah Mitchell comes back and rushes for 2 touchdowns. The 49ers are getting healthy at the running back position. They went all in on Christian McCaffrey. They get Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey becomes an instant difference maker, not only because of his individual play, but how defenses react to Christian McCaffrey and how they key on Christian McCaffrey and how that creates holes and openings for other players. We almost got a Jordan Mason touchdown today. Also, we haven't talked a whole lot about the game today against Arizona, but I like the stones on Kyle Shanahan to almost get a Jordan Mason touchdown. They get it down to the 1, and I'm thinking, give it to Jordan Mason again. I think that's what everyone was thinking. Just hand the ball off because they tried to do the quarterback sneak. Quarterback sneak didn't work. And I'm like, just give it to Mason. Right up the middle, right up the gut. They do the play action boot. Purdy finds Kittle. To me, again, that speaks to the trust that Kyle Shanahan has in that moment to be able to trust his rookie quarterback in, I think it was 3rd down situation from the goal line, and you opt to pass in a play action situation. Like, talk about keeping defenses honest when they're selling out to stop the run, and you have the confidence to call a play action that is going to put the pressure onto your quarterback to make the throw. And then he makes the throw. Kittle, touchdown. So, I mean, somehow it all comes back to Brock. Trying to talk about other people, somehow it comes back to Brock. Brock is doing well. Someone keeps they want to ask about the offensive line. I say this after every game. I can't give you a true, honest assessment of the offensive line until I watch the tape. You guys know I put in the time. I put in the effort. I watch the offensive line specifically. I watch every snap of every player on the offensive line. I will not give you my opinions of the offensive line until I watch the tape, because it is absolutely impossible for me from in the stands to be able to give you a true, honest assessment of the offensive line. So, you want to hear about the offensive line? Tuesday film sessions on YouTube is the place where you want to be, because not only do we talk about it, but we show the tape, and you'll be able to get the much better situation. So I feel like the offensive line was okay today. If I had to give my in the stands watching from that perspective, I felt like the O-line was okay. But I don't have enough to be able to definitively tell you one way or the other. I know Purdy got sacked 4 times. Very interested to see why those 4 sacks occurred and what the reasoning was, because I couldn't tell you from my vantage point from watching it in the stands, so I can't tell you. So once I go watch it, then I will be able to tell you. I've seen it go a bunch of different ways. So once I watch it, I'll let you know. How do we feel about the defense right now? Are we feeling good about the defense? Do we feel like the defense can improve? I feel like the defense started out a little shaky, but after that first Tashawn Gibson interception, I felt like the momentum really shifted back into the direction of the 49ers defense. Um, yeah, thank you. Oop, there we go. All right. The first play was rough. Yeah, what was the first play? A flea flicker for a touchdown. Um, that was a rough play for sure. But and they I think they had that what like 12 play drive too that they gave up. Um, but once they were able to once they got that Gibson interception, it definitely started to trend in the right direction. So the biggest thing is that I hope they're putting enough tape up where they can start to identify the issues and go in and correct them. To at least talk about the way I saw the play shake out with Diamador. Diamador was at least in position. He was where he needed to be. And I got to give a lot of credit to AJ Green on that one. He just went over the top and snagged that one. That was a really good individual effort. And, AJ Green is a long wide receiver. He's got long arms, and he can go up and high point with the best of them. I mean, at one point, AJ Green was one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. He's definitely not what he used to be, but that play was a good play. You got to tip your cap a little bit to AJ Green, and Diameter was at least in position, but just on the wrong side of the outcome that you were really hoping for. So I think the defense can get better. I think there's opportunities for them to get better, and we'll see. We'll see what So we're gonna have DK Metcalf, right? DK Metcalf's coming to town. Mooney Ward, DK Metcalf played phenomenally well. That matchup was pay-per-view week 15. I do believe week 15 Mooney traveled with DK. I hope that happens again. I would love to keep DK exclusively locked up by Charvarius. And again, DK had some wins, but they really Ward really mitigated the impact of DK Metcalf in that week 15 matchup. So if you can get that, Diamador Lenore is a better matchup on a guy like Tyler Lockett. So naturally, to me, that makes sense to kind of keep those two guys to shadow each one of those wide receivers. I feel like Jimmy Ward continues to do his job. Jimmy Ward at least, I haven't been too heavily involved in studying the defense since Brock took over, just because I've been so heavily involved in studying the offense that I've let the defense slip a little bit. So I don't have definitive takes for you on why maybe some of the breakdowns are happening on the defensive side. But I mean, D'Amico did a really good job talking about it earlier this week. Just, comes down to playing discipline, playing your role and doing what you need to do. So if the 49ers can get that done, then I don't see why the San Francisco 49ers can't beat anyone. They got the talent. I mean, you can't say that Diamador, Ward, Hufanga, Gibson, you can't say, and Jimmy Ward, you can't say they're not talented. They just got to do what they just got to play within the realm of the scheme, their technique and keys, and you're going to get beat here or there. I'm okay with that. It's the, playing out of structure or falling out of structure that I think people will have the most problems with. But if they're able to just lock up, um, they have enough talent. Like Diamador has proven. I mean, Diamador might be having a little bit of a tough stretch, but Diamador has proven he's more than capable to get it done. So don't lose confidence on Diamador yet. Like I know he's had a rough couple games in some situations, but he's done a good job for the majority of the year. So, and we need him. There's, well, Janoris Jenkins, we got him. He actually looks like he could be someone that could play in a pinch and potentially come in. But right now, I think we just got to ride with Diamador, and we should hope for the best. Clean those eyes, 100%. That's all it is, right? Brock Purdy shows us on the opposite side, right? Like Brock Purdy takes advantage of defenders' eyes when they get caught peeking, when they get their eyes in the backfield, or if they're locked in on Brock, Brock knows it and he takes advantage of it. So the same thing goes for our defense. You just gotta play your role within the scheme. James Bell dropping a super chat says, we didn't have Debo and Brock wasn't 100% versus the Hawks. No, we didn't. We did not. But Debo's back. We got a Debo chant today. We got some legends in the chat. We got Travis. It's good to see you the other day. My boy says, Brad, I'm doing an official TK meet and greet performance this Friday. You got to pull up. Damn near might have to. Make sure you tap in with that. And shout out the homies. Yee. Shout out the residency homies. Good to see you guys. Hey, we're ready. This playoff football, baby. Woo! We're hyped. So I'm looking forward to it, man. There's going to be a lot to break down. Obviously, we got to get into the tape. Big Bose. What's good, Big Bose? Am I out? Out of what? But very much looking forward to what the 49ers got cooking. Very much looking forward to it. So I feel confident. I think if we compare a little bit and we look back at the 2020, if we look back at the 2021 season, like we were fighting the entire way to get into the playoffs. You guys remember that? Like for us to get into the playoffs, it really started to feel like the playoffs, like what, week 12? Now, probably week 14 against the Bengals. Because when the 49ers lost against Seattle week 13 last year, it was they really couldn't lose another game. Even though they did, they ended up going 4-1, but they ended up needing help from another team to get into the playoffs, kind of similarly to the Seattle Seahawks. And then, of course, when the 49ers got into the playoffs, it went all the way down to the wire. Week 18 against the Rams, Ambry Thomas, game-sealing interception. Like, it was the mentalities are different this year. So that is going to be interesting to see it play out because last year felt like we were playing with house money a little bit. Not only were we playing with house money, but the 49ers had to go on the road the entire playoffs. And the 49ers are going to be at home now. So it's going to be. I can't wait. We know Levi's, man. If you've ever been to a game, a playoff game at Levi's Stadium, get there because the loudest stadium that I've ever been in was the 2019 NFC Championship game against the Packers. And I live in the Bay, so I grew up going to Oracle. I grew up going to watch Warriors games, Warriors playoff games. I went to the very first playoff game that the Warriors went to in Oracle. I think it was what 2014. I think it's that Rocket series. I always compare it to that because tickets were the cheapest for Game 1 of Series 1, Warriors versus Rockets. Oracle's known for being loud, and it was deafening. It was hyped, but the NFC Championship game against the Packers in 2019, loudest event I've ever been to. So Levi's can get very loud, and the Levi's Stadium I've been to. I was at Seattle. I was at Levi's versus the Rams, Chiefs, Chargers, Saints, Dolphins, Bucks, missed Washington, Cardinals. So I've been to 8 home games this year, not including preseason. And Levi's has been active. So I can only imagine the atmosphere in the playoffs is going to be pretty legendary. Now, I'll say this. I went to Lumen's Field. I went to that stadium week 15. It had some mojo. It did. But the 49ers took it out of them early. So the 49ers can definitely give the fan base something to yell about. Oh, it's gonna turn up. So can't wait. Can't wait. Before we get out of here, anything that you guys want to talk about, I'll open it up a little bit to if you guys have any questions. You want to drop some questions into the chat, talking points. Let me know before we shut her down for the night. Injuries, I don't think we really got any injuries. I think Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles was one of the only guys. Brian Greasy's impact. Listen, Brian Greasy, I believe, is turning out to be a phenomenal coach. Now, he might still, I think, and that's the thing with Greasy is like, I still think from a coaching standpoint, oh, my guy's watching on YouTube and Instagram, legend. That's a sourdough squad legend right there. I think with Greasy, he deserves a lot of credit for what we're seeing with Brock Purdy. John Lynch gave all the credit to, I think it was Bobby Slowick. I think he described Slowick as an area scout, and also Brian Greasy for being the ones who championed Brock Purdy to be picked with that 7th pick. And I mean, look at look at like what is the difference? Why did Jimmy improve this year? Why did Jimmy improve this year? Why is Brock having some of the success he's having? When you talk to both Jimmy Garoppolo, or they ask these questions to both Jimmy Garoppolo and Brock Purdy, they both talk about his inexperience as a coach. But the thing that they talk about as his most valuable asset is that Brian Griese played quarterback. So he sees and understands everything like a quarterback. And I really do think there is, and that might sound weird to say, like, well, quarterback coach played quarterback. Whoop de doo, Basil. Like, what's the big deal? Like, when you play the position, you just understand it at this fundamental level. If opposed to, like, let's say you're a wide receiver or a tight end, and all of a sudden you're trying to coach quarterbacks. Like, I was an offensive lineman. I feel like I just have this. I don't know everything about offensive line, but I have this, like, it's like in my DNA. Like, I am an offensive lineman. Like, I can relate to offensive linemen. I can understand, like, the when people are talking shit about them. Like, I can understand, like, what that feeling is like of playing 33 reps good and the one rep is terrible, but you only get talked about for the one battle. Like, there's just this DNA that I think is built in that Brian Griese is bringing to the table, that he's able to kind of be a conduit between quarterbacks and the play caller in Kyle Shanahan. So I think Griese's proving to be a really, really nice addition to the staff. I really like Griese, at least, and from what I can hear and start to piece together. Again, I'm not in the building, so I can't confidently assess Brian Griese from that standpoint. But, like, just everything that I pieced together, it does feel like Griese is doing a good job. So, Mike Shanny helping with the game plan. I think Mike Shanny's still involved. I think he is. Who should be cornerback 2 opposite of Ward? I think you got to rock with. I think you got to rock with Demo. You can't. I don't think you should try to mess with Diamador's confidence. Like, I think benching Diamador at this point would only just kind of mess with his confidence when you might need him. You're definitely going to need him down the stretch. So right now with Diamador as a first-year starter, you kind of got to work through some of those bumps and bruises that come along with it. And I think if they can continue to show that confidence that, hey, listen, if you do this, you do that, you're going to be all right. Keep your chin up. We're going to keep putting you out there because we believe you can do it. I believe he can. I believe Diamador can do it. He just has to do it consistently. And that's normally the conversations you're having with young players. It's like, that's why I think guys like, Kyle Shanahan are hesitant to play young players because they don't want to go through that. They want to have a guy that they can rely on. They know they're going to, like, when you talk about Dante Johnson, they love Dante Johnson because Dante Johnson always does what he's supposed to do. They like Daniel Brunskill because Daniel Brunskill always does what he's supposed to do. So with Diamador, I think you just got to keep rocking with Diamador and just keep building that confidence. Keep trying to, whatever issues he may be having. Again, I'm not a good person to judge that, but if there are issues, coach him up on it and give him the confidence to go out and improve on it. So, who would we play in the divisional round? I don't know. It's a good question. I don't know what the seating looks like. Hold on. NFC playoff. Not positive of what the seating would look like. Yeah, I don't know. We would play. We would play the winner of the Giants or the Vikings. So 49ers, man, you look at that, like a lot of people are predicting the New York Giants might go up and beat the Vikings at home. The Vikings seem kind of fraudulent. So, I mean, the 49ers are going to be playing the winner of the Vikings and the Giants, I believe. So, that seems like a pretty good path to the NFC Championship. But I agree. We're not there yet. One game at a time. One game. We can't look ahead at past anyone. If there's anything that the Raiders prove to us, right? Any given Sunday, any team could show up and give you your best stuff. So I think that's just gotta take it one game at a time. Don't overlook the opponent. We can be confident, but we can't overlook them. Again, as fans, we're always going to talk about matchups like we're playing. That's just how we roll. Always. Like, get used to it. This 49er fan base is so dedicated to being fans of the 49ers. Like, that's how we talk about these matchups. Like, I get it. We're not playing the game. We aren't. But we're going to be in those stands. We got to understand what's going on. We got to know when to bring the energy, when to bring the vibes. So, yes, we might not be playing, but we're going to talk about like we're playing. And we're going to talk about like we're going to prepare to play because let's face it, we got some great fans. So, I mean, great fans. We're still holding out. Like, we're still about 450 people watching on YouTube and Facebook, still hovering around 100 on Instagram. 49er fans are built different. We're built different. So I appreciate all you guys tapping in with me as always. I thank all of you guys for a really fun season. A season where we went 13-4, a season where we had a lot of roller coaster of emotions. Just a wild freaking year, a wild last couple years, a wild decade, a wild 2 decades. It's been the wild, wild west for 49er fans since 1994. So I thank all of you who have continued to go on this ride with me. Kind of, I'm a fan, and now I talk to you from a content side of things, but I'm still a fan, and we still want to see this team win, and we still want to ride with the ups, and we still support during the downs, and that's just how we move. Because we are the SDS. We see all the bread emojis in the chat. Shout out to SDS. The best 49ers community on the planet. I appreciate you guys, man. if you guys are watching over on YouTube, do me a favor. Smash that like button. You already know the vibes. If you guys are watching on Instagram, I appreciate you guys as always. Supporting the page, all that good stuff. If you haven't subbed to my YouTube channel, you should. Because I do predict that my YouTube channel will eventually have more followers, subscribers than my Instagram channel. It's going to happen. We're moving on YouTube. So I shout out everyone who watches on YouTube, Facebook, and of course, everyone on Instagram. I can only say it enough times. My guy follows me on TikTok too. Let's go. You guys are the best. It's playoff time. The new season begins now. 2022, that season, 13-4, was fantastic. But we have new goals, we have new dreams, and we have new aspirations. Someone said, Blue Soldier said, is Facebook still a thing? You want to know how much Facebook is still a thing? I have 45,000 followers on Facebook. I have 131 followers on Instagram, 131,000 followers on Instagram. My 44,000 or 45,000 follower Facebook page, I had in the last 28 days, 9.2 million, whatever. It's not impressions, 9.2 million, I don't know, engagements or whatever. My IG was 2 million less. So, hey, people still popping on Facebook. So, Facebook is popping over there. My Facebook is cooking right now. So, we moving. My boy says I got 1.7 million followers on MySpace. Let's go, brother. I appreciate all you guys. I'm out of here. Like the video on the way out. Tomorrow's Victory Monday. Might be Victory Monday, depending on where you're watching. But you already know we're going to come back with a Victory Monday episode. We'll do a Victory Monday stream on YouTube. We're out of here for now. Peace, IG. All right, IG's down, and we're out of here. Later. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to